Welcome to Tomorrow's World Today, a show dedicated to the discovery of innovation and cutting-edge technology. We showcase the latest developments from the greatest companies and smartest people in the world. Tomorrow's ideas are out there, and through our journey of inspiration, we will uncover the technology of the future. This is Inventionland World Headquarters. Here now is George Davison.
Everybody's interested in sustainability these days. Everywhere from manufacturing to construction, to agriculture and even energy. But what about the finer things in life, like say, alcohol? I've heard of a whiskey maker who's known for more than a smooth, clean finish. In fact, they're offering a unique blend of rye, corn, barley malt, and eco-friendly distilling. They're called Bulleit Frontier Whiskey. Thomas E. Bulleit Jr., inspired by his great-great-grandfather, Augustus Bulleit, fulfilled a lifelong dream of reviving an old family bourbon recipe. A tavern keeper in Louisville, Kentucky, Augustus, was driven to create a bourbon with a unique flavor. He used a mash bill, cooked nowadays in one of these. 2/3 rye, 1/3 corn, which would make it a rye whiskey today, not a bourbon. Now, legend has it that one day, while transporting his barrels of bourbon to New Orleans, Augustus mysteriously vanished, never to be seen again. Fortunately, his creation lived on. I'm going to be sending Daria to Kentucky to find out how Bulleit is produced today and how they're using sustainable practices to protect the environment.
I'm here in the middle of a huge cornfield outside of Shelbyville, Kentucky, which is on what's called the Bourbon Trail. This is where bourbon distilling was born back in the 1700s. George sent me here to be his eyes and his ears to find out how Bulleit bourbon is made. George gave you the history of Bulleit bourbon. Let me tell you what I've learned about the more recent history. Augustus Bulleit's great-great-grandson, Tom, studied law. But he decided his real passion was to take on the old family bourbon recipe from 150 years earlier. He launched Bulleit Bourbon in 1987. Today's Bulleit Bourbon is known for its unique blend of rye, corn, and malt barley, along with special strains of yeast and pure Kentucky limestone filtered water that gives it a special spicy character with a clean, smooth finish. Bulleit Bourbon is pretty much a perfect blend of traditional distilling methods and modern science. In 2017, here on their land, they opened a new distillery where they operate a lab that will deliver quality and consistency well into the future. And Bulleit is also staying ahead of the curve in terms of sustainability. Their water comes from local natural sources. They strive to have their corn grown within a 30-mile radius, and they use a state-of-the-art water reclamation process. To get the whole story on sustainability, I'm meeting with the people who make all of this happen. I'm really excited about diving into the backstory of bourbon and whiskey. In fact, I've got just the tour guide to show me how it's made. His name is Dwayne Kozlowski, and he's been in the business all his life, following in his dad's footsteps. He's a master distiller, and he's ready to show me how it all comes together. Hi, Dwayne, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great, thank you. There's so much to learn here and experience. But why don't we get started with you telling me a little bit more about the ingredients?
Yeah, there's 3 grains. We use our corn, rye, malted barley, and our limestone filtered water. And that's how we start.
Now, can I go check the process out?
You bet. Let's go.
Okay. All right, so we've got our ingredients. Now, what's the cooking process?
So we get our grains in, we get our corn, our rye, our malted barley. Our corn, we strive to have it growing within 30 miles of the distillery. It's all local Kentucky corn. Once we unload it, then we mill it and we get it into a milled stage. So if you want to open up the drawer there, you can see that it's milled. It's like almost like a flour, coarse flour. So we do the corn and then we mill our rye separately, and there's some milled rye there. And then lastly, we mill our malted barley then it's ready for the cooking process. So the first thing we do is we add our Kentucky limestone filtered water that we get from the creek right adjacent to our property. We add the water, and then we add some backset, which is some mash from a previous fermentation, and then we'll start adding our milled grains, and then we cook it in the cooker, which takes about 4 hours.
Now, most bourbon distillers use a combination of these ingredients, but what makes Bulleit different?
Two things. One is our proprietary yeast. We have 5 different proprietary yeast strains that we use that'll give our whiskeys different characteristics, such as spicy, cinnamon clove, fruity, jackfruit. The second thing is our rye content. So Bulleit is known as a high rye bourbon. We have about 28% rye in our mash bill, which is about double of a typical Kentucky bourbon. So if you see up here, we kind of illustrated that. We have, you know, top showing Bulleit that has about 28% rye, and then this is showing a typical Kentucky bourbon that has maybe 10 to 15% rye in it, as well as we're showing what a wheated bourbon is, which will have no rye, which will have corn, wheat, and malted barley in it. So let me go show you the process.
All right, Dwayne, so where are we headed now?
We're headed to the cooker room, but it's very loud in there. So we're gonna need our glasses, our safety glasses, and our hearing protection.
All right, great, let's do it.
All right. So now it's all been cooked. We're going to cool it down and pump it to the fermenters.
It smells good.
It sure does. So this is one of our fermenters. So we've taken the mash from the cooker, cooled it down, pumped it over to the fermenter, added our yeast, and let it start fermenting. So this fermenter is about 12 or 15 hours old. As I can tell, it's got big bubbles on it, and as it ferments, it'll get smaller and smaller bubbles until we actually get kind of a skin on it, and then we know it's finished.
And I see the big bubbles, so what is like the approximate temperature?
So we set it at about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. We allow it to naturally rise up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit before a cooling jacket comes on and maintains it at 90.
Now, we talked about the yeast and as well as these 5 flavors or so that it gives. So what's happening in terms of this one?
So the yeast we're using right now is one of our 5 proprietary, and it gives this whiskey a fruity note.
Now, you mentioned the skin that's on top. Do you have a fermenter that has the skin on it that you can show me?
Yes, right over there.
Let's take a look at that. This way?
Yep. And this fermenter here is just about finished fermenting. It's got that light skin forming on it. In a couple hours, we'll pump it over to the beer well, and then it'll be sent to distillation. I also have a fermenter that we're just about to fill.
Great. I'd like to see that.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's the fermenter we're filling. Soon we'll add the yeast, and then it'll start fermenting. Go look at distillation?
Yes, let's do that.
We're in the still house, so we got our column still and our doubler. It's 5 stories high, so let's go up. So this is where the mash comes in from the fermenter.
Yeah, I can see it going across the tray. Interesting.
But I want to take you up one more flight of stairs to where the alcohol is at the top of the still.
Okay.
This is the final product off the doubler.
I love the smell. It smells like whiskey and sweet wine. What's the proof?
132 proof.
132 proof. Oh my goodness. Now, of course, I'm noticing the color. It's obviously not brown. I assume that happens when it's in the barrel.
Correct, yeah. You put it in the barrel, and when it ages, the expansion, contracting of the seasons, it'll pick up flavors from the barrel, as well as all the color will come from the barrel.
And how long will it stay in the barrel?
6 to 10 years.
Wow, great. All right, so now you can give me an explanation of what I just saw.
So the mash from the fermenter comes in, fills up this plate, overflows. There's a weir system, and they go back and forth all the way down. There's 16 sieve trays in the column. They have these perforated holes, and the live inject steam is coming in the bottom of the still and goes up through the holes, through the mash, drives the alcohol off the mash, and then it starts to form in the liquid form on these top 3 trays. We call them rectifying trays. So when we were looking through that little sight glass with the flashlight, these trays, they hold a liquid level of the alcohol, and the steam continues to bubble up through the bubble cap and vaporizes the alcohol and makes a product that we call low wines.
Great, and so from the low wine, it goes to the high wine, which is what I was sniffing.
Correct. The low wines will go to the doubler. It'll get redistilled again using coil steam, and then that's what we were looking at, was what was coming off the doubler, and that's the final product that'll get put in the barrel.
Great, and so we're going to check the barrels out now?
You bet.
Okay. Before we go over and see the barrels being filled, tell me more about the barrels themselves.
Yep, we use brand new white American oak barrels. We get ours charred the highest level possible, number 4. Sometimes it's called alligator char because of the wood. You can see it looks like alligator skin. So we take our product off our doubler, which is clear that I showed you. We put it into the barrel, and to start the aging process. So through the seasons, contraction and expansion, our bourbon will age by going in and out of the wood, and we'll pick up all the color from the barrel as we talked about, and some flavors as well from the wood.
Okay, now what happens next?
Barrel filling.
Oh, let's go see the barrels. So Dwayne, tell me how you're practicing conservation and sustainability.
In barrel filling here, we're using electric forklifts, and some of them are powered by the solar panels that are out front, so that reduces our carbon footprint.
Now let's talk a little bit about what's happening on the line.
Yeah, so we've taken our new barrels, we're unloading them. He's put them on the conveyor here, and now we're spraying on the barrel head our distillery number, our mash bill, our batch number, and the date on the barrel head.
So this way you can definitely keep track of all of them.
Yeah, that'll identify what went into that barrel.
Okay, great.
So once the barrels get sprayed, it comes down the conveyor here, and it'll go to our filling station. He lowers the lances in there, the barrels start filling. When they get full, the lances automatically come up. He puts the bungs back in, they go down the conveyor. We use our electric forklift to put them into the trailer, and they go out into the warehouse.
Do the barrels get repurposed and reused?
Yeah, once we empty out those barrels, we'll reuse them for such things as Scotch whiskey, Canadian whiskey, and rum.
Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Darren, it's nice to see you.
It's good to see you.
Welcome to the library.
Library, I thought I was coming to a lab. I don't necessarily see any books around here.
Well, the books are hidden in the form of bottles. These bottles are, in fact, everything that's aging out in the warehouse. So they represent all the barrels that are out there right now.
So what are you documenting?
We're documenting the flavors, essentially, in the form of the different grain mash bills, the different yeasts, the different ages. And those are the things that we're going to put together to make our formulas.
And every one of these bottles represents one of the barrels you have out there.
It does, and every year the library gets completely renewed so that what we've got represents how it is actually out in the warehouse. I was just wondering, I've got a few samples here on the table if you'd like to look at.
This is what I've been waiting for. Yes, let's do it.
I've set out 4 samples for you of various yeast types, barrel age, different grains, set up mash bills, and I'm hoping you'll be able to see some of the differences.
Okay, let me. Oh, this smells like honey. Yeah,
Yep.
very much like honey.
It is yep. Please, yeah, guys, I'm curious because the influence of one to the next will be interesting to watch.
Now I smell oranges in this.
It's very distinctive. Citrus is not the usual one that we see, but we do see fruity. But yes, it is a very distinctive wine compared to the first.
Licorice or leather, or both?
Bingo, I think. We discuss that one and call it a bit of leather. It's typical of that particular product. That's why it's on the table.
Now this one, of course, is the darkest.
It is getting older, yes. And you'll see just how old.
I love the smell of this. It's very smooth
and powerful. Like that one actually carries the flavor right to your nose, and it's not overwhelming, but it's very strong.
Rich and...
Yep, it's surprising how much the barrel influences that flavor. And when we're blending, you can put these different flavors together and try to balance them out to accentuate some and try to maybe mitigate others. That's the plan. I think our plan is to get you up to the visitor experience, if you're willing.
So I can do some tasting, yes.
After our, sensory
right.
here.
Good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Great to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Ready to drink some bourbon?
I'm certainly ready.
All right,
Been
come
waiting
on
for
in.
this.
Come on in. We'll get the door for you.
Thank you.
After you. It's the fun part.
Cool. Yes, it is. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, on to the tasting. We're going to start with the flagship. That's the orange label right there. And whenever you're tasting a spirit, you always want to have some water with you to make sure you can stay hydrated and clean your palate. And you're going to taste twice. It's one taste will clear your palate, and the second taste, you'll actually pick up some of the nuances of what you have in that glass. Let me know what you're getting there out of those notes.
I like this a lot.
So it's beautiful. It's aged 5 to 7 years, 2/3 corn, 1/3 rye, a little bit of malted barley, so a very high rye content bourbon.
I'm like a little bit of orange, a little citrus.
Okay,
Very
yep.
smooth, yeah.
Nice bright citrus. I get a lot of orange on the
Yeah,
front.
orange, definitely
And it'll
orange.
kind of roll into some baking spice. You get a little bit of pepper.
Yeah,
that's
especially
the
on the
rye
back
right there.
of the
Yeah, you kind
tongue,
of get
yeah.
those spices. And then it finishes nice and sweet. Compare that with the 10-year we have next to it. Same mash bill. This is just going to be on oak twice as long. So it's going to be matured 2 times as long in the warehouse, 10 to 15 years here.
I love the smell of
Yeah,
this.
super nice. So you get a lot of caramel flavors out of this. So as it sits in that warehouse over time and that whiskey comes in and out of that barrel, it's going to pick up those flavors. You getting those?
Well, I'm loving this.
Nice
Absolutely.
longer finish compared to the
definitely.
flagship as well. All right, next we're going to jump to the rye whiskey. This is going to be the green label. This is actually made up in Indiana, and this is 95% rye. The big thing here is there's 0 corn in this rye whiskey. Give it a taste. I want to see if you pick up on the big difference that we get here with this.
Huge difference. It seems more sharp.
Yeah,
I want to say it's crisp.
It is crisp. It's nice and crisp, nice and bright and crisp, and then it's going to roll into that baking spice. But the finish on this is dry.
Very
When your
dry.
Bourbons are going to finish sweet. This actually dries your mouth out. Next up, we got a barrel strength. This has no water added to it once it's taken out of the barrel, so it's higher in proof. So this is batch number 5 we have here, just shy of 126 proof. So nice big, right? Nice big
Told me to
flavor
take it
there.
slow and be careful, right?
It's going to have a lot of oaky aromas and really long finish.
But it's delicious, and you're right, just a little bit of a sip, but what a difference, and I'm really enjoying it.
Which ones are your favorite?
Definitely the 10,
Nice,
and
good
certainly
choice.
this one, yeah.
Good choice.
Definitely. This has been so enjoyable. What I'm most interested in, though, is after spending all this time here and learning so much, what's the future looking like?
The future with Bullet's actually really great and bright. Moving forward, Bullet's very interested in sustainability and how we can cut our carbon footprint. With our new distillery out in Lebanon, we're trying to source all our energy 100% sustainable means by the next 10 years and really give back to the community.
Great. Well, it has been such a pleasure being here. I've got to check in with headquarters, but I thank you so much for this taste.
Absolutely. Before you go, I have a little something for you to take back with you.
Oh,
There you go, a little
nice.
gift
Thank
from
you.
us.
Yeah, well, I'll be sure to take this back to George. I know he's going to love it. He'll add it to his collection.
Awesome.
All right.
Enjoy. It's great
Thanks
seeing
so
you.
much, Adam.
Hey, Daria.
Hey, George. I'm here in Shelbyville, Kentucky, getting the taste of the Bullet Bourbon story. Now, George, I do know that you have an appreciation for fine spirits. So while I was looking to get the core Bullet story, I was also looking for something that was pretty rare and different just for you. And I think you're really going to enjoy this. I'm having it shipped back to Pittsburgh in a very secure container for you. Meantime, let me share with you some of the highlights from my visit. Like, I didn't even realize that bourbon went through so many stages to be created in such a way that it defines a pleasurable experience on the palate. Well, I have to say, I am a wine drinker, but I can truly appreciate the complexity of a good bourbon. And without this trip, I probably would have never fully experienced in such great depth this unique blend of corn and rye. So be sure to have a very good look at the label, because it was personalized to you from everyone at Bulleit. And I'll check in with you soon.